Welcome back to another edition of Our City. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Wednesday, August 13th at 11 o'clock in the morning, I will attend a health fair in honor of National Health Center Week at the Neighborhood Health Center located on Magnolia Avenue between 1st and 2nd Street. And on Friday, August 15th at 12 noon, I will attend the College Alumni Regional Conference. This is a luncheon that's held at the Renaissance Hotel at 1100 Spring Street. And on Saturday, August 16th at 11 o'clock, I'll attend the 9th Annual Car and Bike Show, which will be held in front of City Hall. This event will feature activities, contests, trophies, raffles, and music. The rain date is August 17th, and if you need more information, please call the Midtown Special Improvement District of the City of Elizabeth at 355-9600. And also that afternoon after the car show, I will join Siloam Hope Presbyterian Church in the afternoon. They will have their annual NPRO Community Day, the Neighborhood Preservation Residents Organization. This event's located at 496 Spring Street, and it would feature free food, music, fun. So if you're in the area, come on by on that Saturday. If you need any more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 820-4124. And we'll be right back after these messages.
Sometimes you learn by helping others learn. Kean University.
Welcome back to Our City, where I'm pleased to be joined by Bill Webb, the Executive Director of the Family and Children's Services, and Mr. Dave Baumgartz, the President of Family and Children's Services. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mayor. Nice to be here again.
First of all, we always ask our new viewers to tell us a little about themselves. And Bill, you've been on the show before, so I'm going to start with Dave. And Dave, give us a little rundown on how you got here to Family and Children's Services.
Sure, surely, Mayor. Well, actually, I've been on the board of Family and Children's Services since 2005, and it was Reverend Howard Bryant, pastor, Presbyterian pastor in Elizabeth and the surrounding area, who...
And a good golfer.
He is, suburban, always there. And he was on the board, and they were looking to fill some board seats, and they were looking for someone with financial background. And so Reverend Bryant came to me, and then I went to Bill, talked to Bill, and talked to a couple of the board members, the president of the board, and joined the board in 2005. So it's.
But you were telling me before the break that you were in financial services and you came here from Kansas City, Missouri.
I was Kansas City, Missouri, to Washington D.C. to New Jersey, Summit, New Jersey, and so I've been in New Jersey for 30 years. So I can feel it financially.
And you were in the Naval?
Yeah, I had a dual track. I had a career with a bank regulator, U.S. Controller of the Currency, and then also with the Navy Reserves. So a dual track career, and retired from both now. So I do have time to contribute to Family and Children's Services and a few other organizations.
So do you play golf with the Reverend Bryant at all?
You know, I don't, but I hear a lot of stories.
So, Kansas City, Missouri to Washington to New Jersey. A little bit of a culture shock?
Oh my word! From Kansas City, Missouri to D.C., that was the big shock. Coming to New Jersey wasn't quite as bad, but yeah, it still hurts after all these years.
Yeah. So, Bill, you've been with Family, but you're a Midwestern guy too, right?
I'm from Iowa originally, yes. Yeah.
That's probably why the two of you guys get along.
Maybe that's it.
The Midwestern roots.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so I've been with Family and Children's for 24 years now, and a New Jersey resident for 24 years. I consider it home, certainly. And I still love the agency, love the people I work with. We have a wonderful board, very engaged and committed board of directors, and great staff, wonderful staff, very skilled staff, and very compassionate. So, and a great community to work in. A number of other agencies in the community that are very collegial, cooperative, and collaborative, and I have to give you a compliment, if I will, at fostering that in the community. I think you do a great job of supporting the entire nonprofit community in the Elizabeth area, so it really benefits the entire working atmosphere for all the service agencies in the community.
Well, nonprofits are a bit of a struggle in these days.
Yes, indeed.
Financially.
Yes, yeah, the math gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
A lot of requirements that most of us, have to deal with: additional compliance, additional accountability. Usually, those requirements don't come with added funding to take care of those things. More costs around IT and data processing and things like that. So it's a challenge to keep up with the funding needs of running a really good social service organization.
Now, one of those funding needs, or some of those funding needs, were met by this big event you have coming up.
Yes, we hope so.
Tell us about that event.
Well, it's called Champions for Children, and we actually had the first one last year in April of 2013. And the idea really is to honor it's some, because we can't get to all of them, the people in the community, whether they're volunteers or professionals, whether they are lay people, whether they're faith-based organizations who do good things for kids. So we all know that children, obviously are ideally raised by a wonderful, nurturing family, and if they're lucky enough to have that, they still need help from other people in the community to get to a self-sufficient adulthood. So there's all these people who are coaches, teachers, mentors, lay people in the community, maybe faith-based folks who are working with the kids, and help them develop the skills and the attitude towards life that gets them to a successful adulthood.
And Dave, as the president of the board, what's the role of the board in this Champions event, and how do you see this turning out?
Well, the role of the board is to support it and to bring in as many donors and contributors as we can to that program on that October day, and taking leadership in terms of bringing in sponsorships. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge for the board. We have a board of 13 people, and could be more, I think up to 18, but we're all behind this, and I think Bob Hurley is going to be a great person to recognize, a great person to hear speak. He's been involved, as you know, basketball with youth, and also careers in the probation area of community programs. So I think he's the right person for this time, and I think it'll be a great event.
Well, Bob Hurley, as you know, has been inducted into Springfield, Massachusetts Hall of Fame.
Yes.
The Basketball Hall of Fame. So he's worked with young people in a very difficult circumstances financially for years, and has turned out some great players.
Absolutely.
Who picked Bob Hurley? How did this come about?
It was
What
kind of
the
a
process?
brainstorming session with our committee that was planning the event, and we were casting about for people who we thought were just really good examples of leading a whole lifetime, really, of championing for kids. And Bob's name came up, and we all said, that's the person we want to ask. And he was gracious enough to make himself available, and we're very excited to have him. We couldn't pick a better person, I think, to speak to the group and inspire the group, and then we'll also recognize some other community folks who've done good things as well with kids, but he will be our spotlight.
Well, he's almost
person.
single-handedly through the years kept that school open up in Jersey City.
Yes, it's
through the basketball program.
Yeah, they've been faced with closing, because of financial resource lack for many years, so I know they're working very hard. And he's recently named president of St. Anthony, so he's now the official leader of the school, and I'm sure he'll be even more active with fundraising for St. Anthony.
Well, he always was. Now he's just got the title to go with it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So,
Yeah.
The timing is good because, as you see there, it ties to his new book, Chasing Perfect.
Yes.
And so we'll have copies of that book available, with Bob being there to sign, autograph, and so I think it's a nice timing.
I agree. And we do have, if I may just say, TD Bank and Wakefern are our two lead sponsors so far. We're looking for more, of course. And then Matyson, which is an IT company based in Hanover, is also going to be a sponsor. So we're eager to get the business community as well as the human service and educational community involved in supporting the event.
good. Last year, you recognized a number of community champions as well.
Yes.
Do you plan to do that again this year?
There'll be a number, but it won't be quite as big. I think we probably hit close to 100 last year. It truly was a community event, and which was kind of a wonderful thing about it. It was an unusual recognition event, I think, but we think we'd like to be have a little bit smaller number and maybe have a few more things to say about those folks, realizing that even if we recognize 1,000 people, it's not enough. There's so many people out there in the county and the community who are doing good things for kids. We want to be able to involve as many as we can, but realistically, there's only a certain number we can really honor.
So how do you, Dave? How do you go about finding these champions? for the kids, and how does the board play a role
Well,
in that? Do you interview them? How does that happen?
Well, there is a tie to the sponsorships and to attendees, and each sponsor or attendee will have an opportunity to nominate someone. And there's just a brief write-up that they will provide a selection committee that's made up of key people on the
Right.
Family and Children's Services staff, and so that committee will choose probably 10 to a dozen. It's hard to say without seeing all of the nominations, but there'll be more of a selective process this year than last year, which was our kickoff year. So there'll be a selection process.
Just the second year of this event? or-
Yes,
Yeah.
just a second.
Second year.
Yeah.
So, and it went over well last year. So
It was a great success last year. We had, as you may remember, over 200 people. We filled up the auditorium here at Kane and had a great reception. Bob Danzig was our speaker last year. He was very inspiring, a former foster child who became
Is he
a very...
coming back? Because he was very moving.
Oh, he's very moving. I
Yeah.
don't know if we can catch him this time or not.
I know.
He's on the road a lot, but he was a very inspiring speaker, and I'm sure Bob Hurley will do a wonderful job as well. So,
He was. I don't usually stay for all these speeches, but
yeah, I know.
he moved me.
Yes,
as I spoke with you
Yeah.
after the event.
Yeah.
He was a very interesting guy.
He was an excellent speaker, and he had so much life experience to share with people, and I think they resonated.
You talked about the sponsors of the event. How do you? You got two big ones.
Yes.
I guess it's called beating the bushes.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you? Phone calls.
Making phone calls, making personal calls, both from the community side and also from the sports side, in terms of sports providers and merchandisers who would have an interest in being there and hearing Bob and having their products, advertised in the program brochure. Yeah.
Can
we're busy doing
anybody
that.
be a sponsor?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Sure.
There's no restrictions certainly, and we have information packets and application forms, and the different sponsorship levels are delineated in there.
Is this year's event also at Kane?
Yes,
Yes,
at the STEM
yes,
building,
STEM
same
building.
location.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Same location.
Yes, it is.
It's a
Yeah.
And it
great
went-
facility.
It is.
Yeah.
And they got another new building going up on the corner here. I mean, Kane
Yeah.
is.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's really amazing to watch it.
Well, you've watched it grow over the last.
Yes,
couple.
it's
Yeah.
amazing to watch it grow. Just it's really inspiring.
The audiences that you're trying to reach with this event, young people, senior. Who are you trying to reach?
Well, I would say anyone who, of any age, who has a real caring heart and a compassionate heart and a real commitment to helping kids. So that could be anywhere from high school students, I suppose, who are maybe mentoring younger students, all the way through folks like me who are older and maybe still doing volunteer work, or in my case, I'm still working, but doing things with kids that are of note, basically. In terms of the kinds of people, as I mentioned earlier, it could be teachers, it could be coaches, it could be mentors, it could be social workers, it could be guidance counselors, it could be public officials whose job, they're not maybe necessarily working directly with kids, but you're passing laws, ordinances, regulations, and you're funding programs that help kids. That's a championship, kind of thing as well. Certainly, people in the judiciary, police officers, and legislators, anyone who's either public or private life is engaged with helping kids.
We're going to run some commercials. Please stay with us. All right. We'll be right back. Please stay with us after these messages. We're right back with Family and Children's Services discussing their big event here at Kane University. Welcome back to our city, where I'm joined by Mr. Bill Webb and Mr. Dave Baumgars of Family and Children's Services. Gentlemen, the proceeds are always important, and people always like to know how, and nonprofits are always scrutinized. So where do the proceeds go for an event like this?
Really, for program services at Family and Children's, most of what we do is counseling. It happens in different kinds of programs, but doing therapy is costly. We have highly skilled people, master's and doctoral level clinicians who are well trained, and we work in a community that obviously a lot of the folks either don't have the income or they don't have the insurance benefits to cover the cost of services. So we always try to raise funds to help support counseling services to the community. If people don't have access to them, then their only choice is to go either to a hospital setting or to private practitioners, and there the fees may be higher. So we're able to be flexible with our fees because we're able to raise some money. So basically, that's where the proceeds go. In terms of which programs, we have a Youth Achieving Success program, which is counseling for 13 to 18-year-olds, basically, who are maybe referred by schools or by other agencies or by their families because they're concerned about their behavior. They're not in the juvenile justice system, but if somebody doesn't help out, they could get there. So we like to try to intercede, and we have really great trained staff, actually, who many of them have been trained at John Jay School of Criminal Justice, so they have a forensic background in addition to the therapeutic background. They're really, really effective with these kids. Then we're also trying to, support our basic child and family counseling program, the younger kids and their parents, the same issue.
How do they get to you, Bill?
Well, they can call us directly, or they can go on the website and contact us through the website.
How do they know you exist, in other words? How does somebody know they need family and children's surgery? Are they referred by the courts? Or
Often they may be referred by the courts, they may be referred by the Department of Children and Families, they may be referred by the school system, they may be referred by a hospital. We refer back and forth to Trinitas frequently, depending on who has what availability. They may be referred by another human service agency that does other things, but they don't do counseling, and we may refer to them for housing or legal services. They refer to us for counseling services.
And how do they donate? Do they call? Is there an email? How do people, maybe you could say it on the TV for whoever watches the show.
Sure. If people want to donate, they can call the main office, which is 908-352-7474, and ask for Maria Roman, who is our development coordinator there. And there also is the opportunity to donate through our website, and that's www.facsnj.org. I hope I said that clearly enough. So there are a couple different portals to come in. And then if someone wants to use the mail, it's Family and Children's Services, 40 North Avenue, Elizabeth, New Jersey, 07208.
You got to go ahead.
One of the nice features about this Champions event, we do 3 special events each year. We do what's called the Red Carpet Fashion Show, and we do the golf event, usually in June, and then also the Champions in October. Is that those donors and those sponsors, that money is typically unrestricted. And so the agency has freedom as to how to use those monies. Whereas if we were to go out and solicit funds from a particular corporation or an endowment or foundation, often they want their money restricted to a certain program.
Right.
So this money gives us much more flexibility, and that's the nice thing about it.
And in this challenging times for nonprofits, you're getting more requests than you get funding.
Yes, it's out of balance. It's true.
Really
More
is.
people are hurting out there, and they need help. Yeah, that's very true.
How do you deal with that? Do you refer them to other agencies, or?
If we can't help in a reasonable period of time, then we would refer to other agencies. The problem is that the other agencies are in the same spot we're in, and so there really just aren't enough services available in the community for counseling especially. So that is a serious, I think, under-resourced need in the community.
What are the grants you go after? I mean, you come after us for CDBG grants. We do the best we can.
Sure.
But what about,
you guys are great.
What about other grants? Foundations you go after? Or?
We do. We've had foundation grants that have been very helpful for capital improvements, with an aging building and things that need to be fixed. Hyden Watson, Grassman, and Union Foundations have been very helpful there. We've gotten some program grants through Elizabethtown Healthcare Foundation, which support our counseling program, and the Cummings Trust in New York, which has supported some of our youth counseling program. And then more recently, we received a federal grant from SAMHSA, the U.S. Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, to do a 4-year trauma program. It's actually a $1.5 million grant over 4 years, and our primary partner is Trinitas. We're partnering with Trinitas on this. And so what we're doing is providing a specialized type of treatment for children who've experienced traumatic events and who are basically stuck and traumatized by that event. It hampers them.
Is that the new program called Transforming Trauma?
Yes, it is. Yep, it is.
Relatively new program?
Yes, we're into our 2nd year now of it, and so we're providing treatment services to kids who've experienced trauma, and a caregiver also is involved in that process, and then we're training clinicians or therapists around the community and probably outside Union County too, to deliver this particular type of trauma treatment, which is an evidence-based practice, so it's been tested and everything. And then we're doing trauma outreach and education in the community to make people aware of what trauma is and what the symptoms are, and what someone can do if they've experienced trauma and they're not able to kind of get up and function, or they're kind of having recurring nightmares or flashbacks or numbing of their feelings, the symptoms of actually post-traumatic stress disorder, which, if trauma is untreated and it's severe enough, it can become PTSD, which of course is most popularized, if you will, that's not the right word, but most commonly associated with military folks who are experiencing war-based trauma.
But it happens to others.
Oh, it happens. Sure, it happens to kids in child abuse. It happens to kids observing domestic violence. It can happen to teenagers with community violence. Either being beaten up or watching someone being beaten up. Car accident. A medical emergency. All kinds of things.
Hey, Bill, is there one area of counseling that there's a major focus on with Children and Family Services, or is it? Is it more widespread?
It's broad in that we can work with folks of whatever kind of situation they're dealing with. If they're experiencing stress or crisis and having trouble coping, we can help people with that. I would say that from an experience base, we have a really deep, broad experience with trauma situations. We just didn't necessarily know what to call all this, but we've been working with families for decades who are experiencing trauma from abuse or neglect or domestic violence or some other kind of violence in the community, and just they're just not able to function very well.
So Dave, what do you think? You've been involved in a lot of corporations and things, so is this your first nonprofit organization that you volunteer in your time for?
In the social services area, yes.
So how do you think it stands out among others, or how do you?
Well, I'd have to say it's right at the top.
Of course.
It's right at the top. No, actually, one thing I wanted to mention to you, you had mentioned, we were talking about Kane and using the STEM building, is we use a number of interns, social work interns that are working towards an MSW from Kane, who come over, and it's a close commute over to 40 North Street, and they work for us, probably as many as 7 at a time. And we think it's a great opportunity for students at Kane to get hands-on responsibilities.
They get credits
in this area.
Yes,
they get credits.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention also, when you brought up the issue of fundraising, in the past we had a developmental officer on payroll, a fundraiser on payroll, and that does and doesn't work depending on who it is and the times, the giving times of the year. Now we've gone to a model of using part-time people on call, where one focuses on looking at those types of grants that are federal, another looking at grants that are available through more Union County, maybe state, and then another who helps us with these 3 special projects in terms of getting the word out. And so a combination of those 3 folks has been quite effective for the agency in terms of, along with the board raising money. And we do look to the board. I mean, the 13 of us, the expectation is each board member will give something. The dollar amount isn't as important as we want your contribution, right, because those other funders are asking, hey, does all of your board, do they contribute?
Gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show this evening.
Thank you, Mayor.
I appreciate all your efforts.
Yeah, Mayor, I enjoyed it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Look forward to seeing you at that big event in October.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
For Dave Baumgars and Bill Webb and Family Children Services, I want to thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.
Why do we like it here? Let's just say the reasons are diverse. Kane University.